Hello mamas, and welcome to the third video of the series that I'm doing just for you guys in the group. I'm so excited you're here, and I'm so excited to be talking about the concept of connection. And I know you guys are super excited about this topic as well because a lot of you voted for it in the group. Last week we talked about mental health for kids during the pandemic and the craziness of that. But this week I really want to focus on connection, connecting to ourselves and connecting to our kids, and really what that means. I've done topics on this on my main channel, and I've gone really in depth on both of the sides, connecting to yourself and connecting to kids. But I just want to give you guys just a quick tidbit on both of the sides, and really because they're so important and they both kind of intermingle in ways. So I'm just going to touch briefly on both of the concepts and we'll take it from there. So the first thing I want to talk about is connecting with yourself, because I think before you can connect with anyone in your life, not just your kids, you really need to connect with yourself and be really in tune with your own emotional patterns and your own emotional thinking. So with connecting with yourself, I think the number one thing is acknowledging and accepting our own emotions and our thoughts. And I think that can be really hard for a lot of people. I know for myself, it was a very hard thing to do. And even today, I still find myself struggling with doing that. I just want to talk briefly about one of my clients who I'm so proud of right now, but she was kind of stuck a little bit. I think she was too focused on the end product, which is, becoming more connected with her daughter, and she was kind of stuck in her head about it, and she was really focusing on, how can I make things better? What can we do together? What is going to make this work? And at the end of the day, she realized that it was something in herself that she needed to change before she could make that jump. And once she saw that progress with herself, she made crazy, crazy progress within like 2 weeks. And she was having more good days, as she saw with her daughter, and she was so happy about that. And her daughter was coming to her when she found herself retreating back to her old patterns and giving that attitude and that sass and things like that. The daughter's 9, by the way, in case that put things into perspective. But she found that she was actually coming to my client and saying, I'm really sorry that I messed up. I'm trying to change. I'm trying to be better. And that in itself, for a 9-year-old to admit that, I thought was mind-boggling. But at the end of the day, it goes to show that once you start doing these things with yourself, being more connected with yourself, it's going to reflect in your kids no matter what. So although connecting to your kids kind of has a different concept and a different meaning, connecting to ourselves is always the number one thing that we have to do before we get to that level. So that's why I want to talk about it first. So other than noticing your feelings and acknowledging your feelings, we have to accept them. We have to accept that this is how we're feeling, and we have to be able to cope with it, because we really can't cope with that feeling unless we acknowledge that we're going through it. And we have to be explicit to the people around us that we are feeling angry, or we're feeling anxious, or we're feeling stressed. We have to tell someone and have our feelings be validated to the people around us. And sometimes even it's important to make it explicit to our kids, saying, I really don't want to say something that I will regret to you later, so I'm going to sit quietly in my room, or I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to do something that will help calm me down so that I don't do the thing that will probably upset you as well. So I won't yell, so I won't scream, so I won't throw a temper tantrum myself, whatever that is that you do and that you want to stop yourself from doing. Another thing that I've also talked about on my main channel is connecting through solitude, which I think is so important, and it really goes hand in hand with self-care. And so I think it's really important to emphasize that we really can't be there for the people around us unless we're there for ourselves. So in order to do that, we have to recharge our batteries. We have to do things that make us feel good. We have to do things that put our mental state at ease, because if that's not at ease, nothing is going to fall into place, and everything is going to be, in just this crazy mess. And we're going to be deflecting our anger and our frustration not only on the people around us, but the situations around us as well. So we really need to take that time for self-care. Even if it's just, 2 minutes a day, spending 2 minutes in your closet, doing something, like just getting away from all the craziness and just being by yourself for a certain period of time every single day. You really do need it. And coming from someone who is a people pleaser myself, I definitely fell into those habits of trying to do everything all at once, and then, helping this person, helping that person, and then I would always leave myself behind. And when you do that for a certain period of time, you kind of feel mentally drained, and you just feel like you're not yourself, and you're becoming more irritable and more stressed and more just not functional. I think that's the best way to put it. So we really need to emphasize that and focus on those things. But I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to jump into connecting to your kids. And I think I want to talk about 3 different ways you can do that, just so that you guys can watch this video through and not feel too overwhelmed about it. So connecting to your kids, I think the 3 biggest things would be space, validation, and acceptance. And what I mean by that is a way to create space in your relationship where you both feel comfortable expressing emotions to each other. And again, that does start with you. So once you let all of your, not all of your emotions, but let them know that you're feeling angry at certain times of the day or certain times of the week, or feeling stressed or feeling anxious, or empathizing them when they do have those feelings and saying, there was a time in my life when I also went through this feeling, and I know what is going on inside right now, and this is how I coped with it, and this is how I dealt with it. So maybe these things can work for you. But just being open and honest and creating that space for them to be willing to come to you when they're also feeling that way. So the next thing I want to talk about is validation. And by that I mean a couple of different things. So that not only validating their feelings, but validating the way that they are reacting to those feelings as well. So yes, it's okay to feel sad, it's okay to feel angry, but I also accept that this behavior that you're exhibiting right now is not a reflection of you as a person, it is a reflection of the way that you're feeling, and just accepting that. Once they understand that a behavior is not a reflection of their character, but it is a reflection of A, the situation, or B, that the way that they're feeling, it becomes so much easier to create that space and have understanding and empathy and, at the end of the day, connection, because you are letting them know that this is okay and creating that space for them to feel welcome and involved and open to sharing their own things and sharing what's going on and feeling comfortable, so that you guys can handle situations together so that there isn't so much tension and things left being unsaid that just create chaos at the end of the day. And the last thing I want to talk about is acceptance. And not only is that acceptance of the feelings, but it's also acceptance of the fact that these feelings and emotions don't always have to have a right answer. They don't always have to be pleasing to you, the parent. They can be whatever they need to be in that form. And once they know that these feelings don't have to please you, they'll be more willing to come to you when these feelings get too big and they don't really know how to handle these feelings, because it happens a lot. A behavior always stems from some kind of feeling or want or need. And if that feeling, want, or need is acknowledged and validated and accepted, then it doesn't always have to contribute to the negative behavior. So once you create space and acknowledge and validate and accept, there's always room for connection, and there's always room for those negative behaviors to turn into more positive behaviors or less stressful behaviors, not only for you but for them. I hope that made sense, and if it didn't, I will hopefully clarify in the next video if I touch upon this subject again. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys got some use out of it, and stay tuned for next week, because we're going to be talking about grief and loss. So I'll see you then.